Hello, hello all, and welcome back to this K-pop podcast. I hope you're all doing very well. In this podcast episode, we're going to be discussing some recent K-pop news, specifically pertaining to Hybe and Hybe's labels. So if you want to know my take on things that are occurring and my possibly controversial opinions, then keep listening. So first up, let's talk about what Hybe is planning to do. They stated that they're going to be debuting 6 to 8 new K-pop groups by the end of this year and next year, which is, insane. It's a lot of groups, and I don't know how Hybe are going to be able to manage them all efficiently. Netizens have been complaining, stating that Hybe is basically reinforcing this illusion of K-pop, especially to non-K-pop fans, that the business is quite soulless and just sort of debuts copycat groups, sort of like mass producing product instead of actual art and artists, which I can understand. Hybe really remind me of the Disney company, especially when it comes to Marvel. You know, the way Marvel has been releasing ever since Endgame and Infinity War. People say that the story could have ended there, but now Marvel just keeps on going, releasing more and more characters and shows and movies. And I feel like Hybe is the same way, where they just can't stop. They want money, money, money. And so they're just going to keep debuting more and more groups. And I think it's because they've sort of been scarred by depending so solely on BTS for so long to generate revenue. The profits that BTS made basically covered TXT all the way from debut and also covered the costs for Enhypen. Just think of the cost of running a group. BTS covered for all of that. I mean, because of the money that BTS generated, Hybe were able to basically purchase 17. I believe they purchased another group, possibly, that then they disbanded. Was it G-Idol? I could be wrong, but you get the gist. I mean, with the money that BTS made Hybe even almost bought SM Entertainment. They've practically bought YG. If you want to understand more about that, then just stay tuned and check out my BI Scandal series, because I mention Hybe in that and how it's in Hybe's best interests to keep YG Entertainment afloat. Hybe basically, I think they're scarred from depending on BTS. I mean, depending on one group means that you're limited by the members and their stamina. And the problem is, because BTS have become more autonomous, the longer you work, the more powerful you become, the more you're able to be selective about your schedule. And a company can't boss you around or force you as much into your work. So BTS, I guess, as you can sort of tell with their solo stuff, some of the members are really relaxing, others don't know how to stop, i.e. Jungkook. They clearly pick and choose a lot more the work that they want to do. And I think Hybe are panicking and want to be able to really sustain their empire that they grew so quickly, and sustain it even after BTS are no more, if they're going to the army, etc., etc. They need other groups to fall back on. And what I think is very sad is that they clearly expected TXT to be just as popular as BTS, but they're not. Who cares? Because I love TXT, so many people love TXT. It's just they're literally not. No group can reach the level of BTS popularity except for Stray Kids. I'm going to say it's Stray Kids every single time. I've mentioned this in like every podcast. I think Stray Kids are the only group that can genuinely replicate the success of BTS. They just need basically more time, more energy, and more money put into them. But they're getting there. I think Hybe were disappointed by TXT not being able to make it immediately, from the get-go. But that's Hybe's fault, because they debuted TXT with a more theme. I think we can all agree that TXT got extremely popular after Love Songs, so like their kind of sad emo boy phase concept really suits them because it's very different. I like their Aegyo stuff, don't get me wrong, I think they're extremely talented, but I just think in terms of a market where you have to be quite different, TXT's emo phase really works for them, singling them out from other groups. But anyway, so I think Hybe were disappointed that TXT weren't like immediately popular. just because you have the money and resources doesn't mean that you can just automatically debut a group that everyone immediately will love as much as your group that's been literally active. BTS didn't start getting huge until they'd been together for 7 years. So they expected that same replication of success with TXT's immediate debut. Maybe gave them 2 years. That was the limit for them, and oh no, they haven't achieved that, so chuck them to the side kind of thing. And then they expected the same thing with Enhypen. They did Island because I think they were hoping that that would really build the group's fan base, make them huge, so then they'll already have a head start as soon as they debut. And I do think that Enhypen had a successful debut, but once again, oh no, they've been active for nearly 2 years, not 2 years just yet, and oh no, they're not as huge as BTS, alright, so we got to debut another group. They're not giving them time to grow their fan base naturally, be active, work hard. I think that's why they want to debut so many groups, because they want to just hit that group that is BTS immediately, which just can't happen. I don't think you can ever replicate. This is why I say Stray Kids really works well, because Stray Kids give me the same vibe that BTS had, and BTS have that vibe that Block B had, that Big Bang had. It's that vibe where you produce and make your own music, and your music has your personality and flavor in it. I have no problem with groups that don't write or create their own music. That's absolutely fine to me. You see lots of pop groups and lots of groups make it big without producing their own music, etc. But I think the difference is there's a fire behind certain groups and sparks, and especially group chemistry, where it feels authentic. Even if it's not, it feels authentic. And I think BTS really hit that authenticity. Whatever their management was doing, you felt that the group were friends with each other. It felt like they were so into and involved with the music that they were creating and promoting. And I think that's what you need to do. You need to get concepts that really align with the group and have the members become one and have chemistry and feel natural together, and it really brings in an audience. And I think BTS felt so us against the world, but in a fun way. They really, you could tell they enjoyed what they were doing. And I think that that's really important in a K-pop group, to not have them feel like they're being forced to do things, or that their concepts don't suit them and they don't really know what they're talking about or doing. And I do think that kind of SM artists definitely fall into that, where you go, they definitely didn't pick this concept, or they have no idea what's going on. And you see it time and time again. I love watching behind the scenes videos, because you just hear them talking about the sets and their costumes, and they don't really know what's going on, but they're getting on with it. They give it all they got, and they still do extremely well. So kudos to them, love them. I think that was the magic sauce of BTS, and that's why I say, as I've always said, I think Stray Kids are the closest thing I've seen to that kind of tenacity, that group chemistry, that feeling they love what they're doing. I do think there's still a little bit, you cannot recreate the spark that BTS had, but I think it's the next closest thing to me. Whereas something I think TXT are definitely getting there. I really like the group's chemistry, and like I said, their recent genre and concepts feels a bit more authentic to them. I think Love Song was very authentic, or it felt very good for them. Everything they've come out with recently, even, I've really enjoyed. Hybe basically doesn't seem to believe in them, and I know that fans complain that TXT didn't have as big concept venue halls compared to BTS for their tour, which is unfortunate, but I can understand, because they're just not as big as BTS yet. They haven't been as active as long. And in terms of Enhypen, totally manufactured to a T. That group was created in a bottle, in a lab. All the algorithms, it feels very scientifically made in Enhypen. They're still extremely passionate. You can tell they are very passionate and really work hard on what they're doing. They really focus on their jobs, the Enhypen group members, and I think they work extremely well as a group. They're kind of designed not to fail, that in terms of they're just so appealing visually, their choreography, their concepts, their aesthetic, and their music is very good. I think Heesung is the magic sauce in that group, and I've kind of said this before. It's really good to have an ace in a group, who's just unbelievably good because it pushes the other members to work just as hard and be just as good. It reminds me of EXO, where SM really pushed Kai forward and Kai was kind of given the face of the group treatment, but basically the other members didn't let Kai just get everything. They worked really, really hard to become their own people, to become just as memorable and talented in what they could do. That even pushed Kai. Kim Jong-un, he's got 2 albums now and he can sing now. He couldn't sing when he debuted, and now look at him. He pushed himself because the other members were pushing themselves and pushing each other. Chanyeol couldn't dance. He's really improved his dancing, and that's the same for Chen. Sehen couldn't sing before. He's been trying to sing. Chanyeol was just a rapper and he changed that around to be a singer and a rapper, and I love both equally. Baekhyun was a good singer and now he's one of the best singers in K-pop, so kudos to him. But Enhypen are excellent, but they're like the antithesis of BTS. They're just total opposites. One group totally manufactured and the other naturally created. Totally different feelings. I still think Enhypen has a huge potential to make it big, definitely, especially because they have 2 members who speak English. That's what I mean, it's like made in a lab. Hybe specifically created them to be huge, and right now I'm not quite sure how popular they are. It's hard for me to judge them critically because I'm a huge Enhypen fan. I think everything they release is great and they're great. But if I see it from a business standpoint, I don't think that they are hitting the mark like BTS did. Can they? They can, but I think that Hybe really need to focus on pushing them out there. Hybe really should push Enhypen to promote in America, make them do concerts and festivals in the US, because I also think that that's how Stray Kids are making it bigger and bigger. They have been performing a lot, doing a lot of their world tour in America, same as ATEEZ. You've got to do that kind of stuff and promote yourself in the US, and Hybe's not really doing that with them yet, but once that happens, I'm sure we'll see them grow. So while that's been happening, Hybe are in the process of doing the Howlings. It's basically like Island, but without voting. It's to debut their Japanese group, their Japanese boy group. Some of the people that didn't make it in Island, who didn't make it into Enhypen, they're going to be put in this Japanese group. Kei and Taki, for instance, they are guaranteed to debut in this Japanese group, and then they're creating basically this group around those members. I've been watching it. I think I'm on episode 4 now. Once again, I can't help but get that manufactured feeling. This feels even more manufactured than Island. But as I said, it's not bad. The thing with Hybe is, yes, it's very soulless and their tactics are very soulless, but it's working. I know when this Japanese group debuts, I'm going to really enjoy them. I think I'm really going to enjoy their music. And usually I'm not really a fan of like K-pop groups that release Japanese songs. Usually the Japanese songs aren't my favorite. Something that proved me wrong recently though was Stray Kids' Circus song. That was really good, but usually just the style is a little too different for me. I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this group because I trust Hybe. That's the thing that Hybe are doing really well, like Disney. It's that thing of, you know, you're going to get content that is worth your time. You know that the groups that they debut, the groups that release music from Hybelabels, it's going to be high quality. I'm beginning to trust the brand more and more that I will get good music. And that's exactly what they want. I see Hybe and I go, hey, I'll check out the song. It's exactly like, we will get into them some more, Newjeans, the girl group that Hybe debuted recently. I had no idea what Newjeans were. If you know me, I'm not that into girl groups. I'm starting to get into them. I mean, Twice, I could do a whole episode on the appeal of Twice. I think they're excellent for so many reasons. But Newjeans, I was like, oh, like a new girl group. I thought for a moment, I was like, is this a Japanese girl group? Well, I'm not going to be very interested because I think the music isn't going to be suiting to my taste. But you know, it says Hybe. I trust the brand. It's probably very high quality, this video and the music. So I'm going to check it out. Checked out Attention, and now I like Newjeans. So you see, this is what I mean about Hybe. Yes, it's totally manufactured, but it's working. Their market research is working, and it's actually quite scary. They are so confident and said that they're debuting 6 to 8 new groups in like no time, but I trust them. I think they've cracked the code. I think they have beaten the algorithm and they understand what people want, what aesthetic, what music. Hybe has unlimited money. That's also why they can do this. they can debut so many groups that have good music. It's because so many people want to write music for Hybe, not just Korean producers, American writers, so they can create music that's both attractive for Asian and Western customers, Asian and Western listeners. The aesthetic that they're creating as well is just distinct enough per group that they don't all feel the same. Like, you cannot tell me that TXT feels the same as Enhypen. Le Sserafim, I thought, okay, this new Newjeans group is just going to be Le Sserafim 2.0. They're not. They're different. They feel different, and you can tell that. And that's what Hybe is doing. So when they say they're debuting 6 to 8 new groups, I trust that, one, their music I will like because they know how to create a balance of music that appeals to both the East and West. Secondly, the aesthetic is just different enough, the music videos, the concepts are just different enough that you can dip in and out of the different groups and enjoy something different. It doesn't all feel the same. And that also helps because it means that your groups aren't all filling the same niche. You will get different niches, which means more money. You spread out your groups so you can cover all the sections. TXT is emo, sad, lovers of music. Their voices, their pitch is a bit higher, so you can enjoy that kind of sound, those kind of vocals. And then Enhypen is a bit more back to the classic boy group music. You can go and listen to that and enjoy it. Their music is, I think, quite westernized, but that's probably why I really enjoy it. Even with Newjeans, their music is very relaxing, whereas Le Sserafim is a bit stronger. It's a bit more strong feminine. It's fulfilling different niches and different genres of music when you're feeling like it. So yes, those are my opinions on Hybe overall, Hybelabels, and their strategy with all their groups that are coming out. Let me know if you agree in the comments down below, or if you disagree. And if you'd like me to talk about anything else in the next podcast, then let me know. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you did, then subscribe today. I will be uploading hopefully some more podcasts in the near future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!